Fiji.
I didn't understand the last joke.
Sometimes when I'm speaking, everyone just starts laughing, so I laugh along. I'm pretending I said it on purpose. Yeah. All right, so we've got the area report, but of course that'll be Grace. All right. Do you want to talk about the area report?
I'll really just take it as read, and if there are any questions, please.
Any questions? Yeah, Tim's happy to move. I'm happy to second. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Carried. Well done. Great report. Thank you, Grace. I did read it. I did read it. Oh,
Jane.
Yeah, thank you, Jane.
And everyone.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we're going to move on to members exchange then. So if anyone has any burning topics they'd like to kick off with, first person to look me in the eye can start. Tim?
Nothing major, just lots of little things, and so it's very time consuming, but I know that our staff are really in the main building as well, are really under the gun. So they're just kind of, I was just talking to Lee before about a stormwater, and it's where obviously there's been a disconnect, no pun intended, between the developer and those purchasing. So yeah, it's just time consuming things, but nothing major at the moment.
Cool. Right, and then we'll go clockwise and finish with Sarah and Will. Sorry, Sarah.
I think we've all had I've certainly had a couple of correspondences on self-library, so just obviously we're all conscious of the consultation process ongoing there. We did also have an inquiry regarding Westmoreland. I'm just checking if we've mopped that up or we've just regarding that bridge in Westmoreland. Does anybody?
I will respond to it. I just haven't done it yet, sorry.
Excellent, okay. They're the only two things I've got front of mind with me at the moment. Okay.
Yeah, I was at the Estuary Trust monthly meeting last night, and it's quite clear that they're gearing up as much as they can to be ready for the dog license, the dog permission rules for the estuary to be put forward, and the policies to be changed. And in particular, they're very keen that at the moment, the regulations say that they must be reviewed every 10 years, and that's considered by them to be far too infrequent.
Right. Okay.
So they're gearing up strongly for that one, and look forward to supporting them.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. Kia?
Two things. One is I have had some correspondence from the local MP for the area regarding Rossmore Terrace and some safety concerns up there. So that's been, Tim has kindly forwarded that on to staff for some further action. So, but maybe if we could just note that as something was discussed, just so we've got a record of it if we need to come back to it. And the other thing was that wearing my hat as chair of the Summit Road Protection Authority, I had a meeting with Paul Devlin and John Higgins recently, where we discussed the Port Hills Management Plan and what that looks like from a staff perspective. I understand that they are starting to look at some timeframes for when there might be initial conversations coming back. So I'm waiting to hear a bit more information from them. And then when we've got something that they're comfortable going out publicly with, I'll let the rest of the board know about what that looks like. But good to see that that's something that's happening. I guess one thing we should think about is what are our aspirations for that plan, because obviously the sooner we can get that in front of the right staff, the better. And I think for me, that's around what does the process look like? What community engagement is going to be important, what consultation, and then also who kind of owns who are the owners of the plan in the long run? Is this an operational thing that staff own, or is it something the community own? And how do we balance that, I guess? So I guess just trying to keep the board updated on that as much as possible as we keep going forward. And I'm sure staff will want to come and talk to the board about that as well.
Cool. Actually, on that, Keir, was there some event that they're wanting a board rep from?
So just the other, I don't think they do.
Okay.
I think we're actually okay on that one. I had a look at that. I think we're okay.
Sweet. Mel?
Can I just ask a question, clarification? You made the comment that community board aspirations about the Port Hills management plan. Is that a thing that the board would like to have a conversation together about before, to facilitate from a community governance perspective before, so that when they come, you're actually knowing what it is that you want them to say, or do you want to wait until they come?
Yeah.
I'm just. Sarah has her hand up.
Oh, Sarah, you've had your hand up for something else, eh? No.
I wanted a clarification, that's all.
I mean, I think it's up to the rest of the board. I think it might be good to have a conversation beforehand, because it is one of our board priorities. So
We should be one of the drivers.
yeah,
Right. Good catch, Chris.
We'll
Thank you.
sort that.
Cool. Sorry, Mel.
Just had various bits of correspondence, I guess, about different things. One woman had contacted me from Linden Grove and asked about a community facility in the area, which was the first anyone's ever mentioned anything about that, or where the closest place to go is, which is obviously probably outside of where they are, but it's something it's possibly worth thinking about. There's a meeting on tomorrow with Megan Woods, but it's about Leith Reserve, which I actually only saw the other day for the first time, on Leith Street or whatever street it is. And it's quite got huge amounts of trees, and it looks relatively neglected. And I can't remember if that was on the plan of things for parks, because so it'd be interesting to find out about that, but I don't know what the issue is exactly yet. So if we can find that out for tomorrow. The John Jameson Lockout is having the official opening on Saturday, but it's sort of by invite only. But once it's done, there will be the so I think people can kind of use it at the moment anyway. So that's the Bellbird car park.
Oh, cool.
Which has all been redone by Summit Road Society. I can't remember if last time if the safety meeting for Warren Crescent had happened with the police. There was a meeting at Hornby Police Station about it, and I think things are sort of progressing there in terms of it was good for the community to just be able to talk to the police, but really, and know that there's people there that they can talk to. There's lots of other things, but and I've been to the local Spreydon and Addington meetings recently.
Thanks, Mel.
There's had a request for widening of the footpath on between Beanland and Littleton Street, which is directly across from West Spreydon School. There's that alleyway there, because the higher density housing in Beanland, that footpath gets used quite a bit, that pathway. It's quite thin. It's thinner than one of these tables. And if you got people coming the other way, or you got a pushchair and kids, if you step on the grass, it gets quite wet and people are slipping over. So there was a request for that.
Has that person made a request for service?
Through the snaps in.
Yep.
There'll be some coming. Yeah.
Cool. Because once if you can get them to hand that over to us as well, we can follow up with existing service requests if they've not been getting satisfactory responses. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. You always ask
Did
them for it,
advise
and they
them,
never have
yeah.
it. But
But that's just on the radar. Also, last night we had a meeting with Kāinga Order, Megan Woods, and Graham Norman from Tiko Manawa Rally around the communication with Kāinga auto houses, and making sure that there's clear communication so that we can communicate with the community. And so it was a small meeting, but and also beyond 2023 2024, what's happening, just so it keeps people's anxiety down. Just a bit more clear communication. So.
Oh, awesome. No, it's good to know those conversations are happening at school. Thanks, Roy. I don't have a huge amount. I think just following from the public forum today from HHCA around the road safety, there is the road safety program that's currently being consulted on, and I was keen to just make sure that we had obviously the HHCA as a key group, and I was keen to get a bit of a read from the board around what other groups, particularly probably Mel and Roy, we should be thinking about for that area, to pass on to staff. So Mel?
I was just thinking, and it was because of the Spreydon neighbourhood meeting this week and the safer speeds. Like there's slower speeds coming. There's footpaths that are going to be done through various funding streams, and actually, if you go online to what's going to be done on the map, there's hardly anything on there. So it's really hard for anyone to, because it would be great for the community to know all the things that are coming. And I know some of them aren't all decided, but because people are like footpath repairs and all that stuff, like which footpaths are going to be done, like all those sorts of details too.
Just to say that I've started conversations around the board priority to do with the joining up of all of the various programs that, from the board plan, and haven't spoken with them yet, but time for a conversation around a tool that enables us to see all of those things that are programmed, and from there then look at what do we do in terms of managing the community's ability to have those conversations from that intensification perspective. So it's kind of underway.
Cool. Did sound confident. It was good. Yeah. Sarah?
Kia ora. So you might have seen in the paper, I met with the business owners in Sydenham. It was actually a really constructive meeting, and the newspaper article didn't do it justice in that I'd had some really good advice from staff over the potential of a bylaw, and everyone was really happy with that advice. Two reasons in that area. One is that actually it's completely private property, and so a bylaw wouldn't be applicable anyway. But also lots of other councils have spent a lot of time and energy trying to do a bylaw on begging and been unsuccessful. But it was really useful. Roy Appley from the police turned up and has been really excellent, and it's starting to make a difference in that area, which is great. So I'm keeping in contact with them to see how it's all going. I went to a planting on the riverbank on Fifield Terrace, which was pretty cool, with Finn Jackson and others. I've had an email through from Tim Ackroyd, who's been involved in the Ainsley Terrace stuff. The Opawa Children's Library, the old building there, and I think there's a report coming next month, has been vandalised, and he put in a CSR to get that addressed sort of in the meantime, while the building's just sitting there, and it got declined. So I just got that through today. So I'll flick that through to you, Arotanui Grace, just to feed into the process there. And I'll let him know that there's a report coming next month on the future of the library. I visited the Chatswood Retirement Village on Hawford Road, which was really good, and spoke to the manager there. He'd asked, but the residents are really concerned about speeding and things. The previous board approved 30k an hour along there, but it's clear there's one really long straight stretch, and cars when I was there were definitely going more than 30. So a couple of things in there, and the local traffic engineer is going to go and do an assessment, sort of a post-implementation assessment of that and some other parking issues, which is great. And I guess that'll come to the board if anything needs doing there, though hopefully we can just put some extra speed signage up. And then last night there was a safety hui in Heathcote that the community organised. I attended that, and there was police, neighbourhood patrol, community watch, and Fire and Emergency New Zealand. And it stayed relatively positive, which was great. So it was focused on the big picture stuff. And instead of having like a big Q&A thing where people expressed their concerns and built on each other, there was time to talk to the individual representatives about the issues in a smaller group situation. And the community was focused on what it could do to help, which was great. So that's kind of all of those.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sarah. Will?
Yes, hello. Sarah might know about this one, but I got emails from two different people. Turns out they were mother and daughter when I got to the bottom of it, but about the shops in Heathcote Valley, lack of parking, probably a lot to do with all the roadworks around there, but also the car parks that are associated with the barber shop and the dairy and the takeaways and the cafe. But I did go into the cafe and they said that it's actually nobody really owns that car park, and the lack of car parks can be just the residents going in there. So I'm not sure if there's anything to be done there. Probably not if it's privately owned. But anyway, they were concerned with no car parks and supporting just local businesses. But I'm sure that will improve with the roadworks. And secondly, happy to report back from the 75th anniversary for the Irish Society. It was fantastic. They're great hosts, and the good news is Karen, the president, and Sarah, the customer relations, they want to host us, the whole board, out there at the Irish Society in the near future for a dinner. So we're all invited this time. And look, I was involved with the society back in the 90s, so halfway into the 75 years. And I just noticed how much it has changed in that time, mainly due to how much immigration there has been in the Irish community. It used to be, people with a loose bit of Irish heritage, but now it's quite full with Irish people, and they're only here for 5 to 10 years on the back of earthquakes. But just getting them into society, and that society are very engaged. So I'd be 100% behind supporting that, and if we can get a few people along to that dinner, that'd be great. And I even tried my hand at a bit of hurling and a bit of Gaelic football. I didn't take the field, I just involved myself in the warm-ups on the Saturday. So great fun there. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Will. Appreciate that. Glad to hear that someone went along and they remembered it.
Oh yeah.
No. Yeah. Cool. All right. So next up we've got Kia ora, Wilby. You guys are just in time. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Pull up a seat. If you can't find a chair, there's some more stacked over there. Yeah. Oh. It's good to see some familiar faces. No. Sweet. So you guys are the last on our agenda tonight. But yeah, glad you could come along. Thanks for coming. You're here to talk to us about a basketball court. Awesome. And yeah, so I'll let you take the floor, but just remember when you're speaking to use the green, make sure your microphone's green. Yeah. And actually, before you start, maybe we'll just do a quick round of introductions from the board as well. So Kia's gone, but we'll start with Mel.
Kia ora, Melanie Coker, councillor for Spreydon.
Kia ora, Roy Keneally from Community Board from Spreydon.
Kia ora, Jane Walters, Community Board Advisor.
Tēnā koutou, ko Callum Motokinwa. So I am the board member from Spreydon.
Kia ora koutou, ko aroha nui Grace tōku ingoa. I'm the governance manager here.
Kia ora, Tim Scandred. I'm the councillor for Cashmere Ward.
Kia ora, I'm Lee Sampson. I'm a community board member based in Cashmere.
Kia ora, Tim Lindley, Community Board Member for Heathcote.
Tuhia ki te rangi, tuhia ki te whenua, tuhia ki te nākau o ngā tangata, ko te mea nui, ko te aroha tihei, mauri ora. Ko te mihi tuatahi ki te rungarawa, ko te mihi tuarua I te papa ki waho, tēnā koe. Just wanted to greet the whenua. I te whare, te kete wānanga o wai mō kihi I tū nei, tēnā koe whare. Just wanted to greet this beautiful place that we get to meet. Ko te mihi tua toru, ka mihi au ki kaitahu, ki noi tuheriri runanga, te tangata whenua o te rohi nei. Just wanted to acknowledge kaitahu and the wara whānau who hold the mana for this rohi in this area. Ko te mihi tu rima, nā mihi nui ki ngā Waihoro Community Board, nā mihi nui ki ngā tāpui tamaka. I just want to greet the distinguished leaders amongst you who have really shaped and guided my own journey, but also in the area of Addington. So yeah, tēnā koe Rui, tēnā koe Melanie, tēnā koe Callum, tēnā koe Arahanui Grace. No te Manuka Rangatahi Rōpū mātou. We belong to the Manuka Rangatahi sort of youth group in Addington. Te taki o te hui, kia tai mai tahi, kia tai mai mātou, ki te whakawhanaunga, hei kōrero, hei tono awhina. We come here tonight to get to know you, talk, and ask for help. He iori ahau no tawhiti, no kotorania, rawa no airani, o ka tupuna, ko Ngāti Pākehā au, kei te noho ki te Addington ahau. So I hang out in Addington. My ancestors don't come from here, they come from way over in Ireland. Yeah, he kaimahi o te Addington farm, ko Wilby ahau. I'm Wilby and do a bit of mahi in the garden, but I love to support the rangatahi locally as well with their dreams. I just want to hand over now to Tane. If you could please come up here and join me. Here's the seat for Tane. So Tane is just going to share a bit about our whakatauki that have guided this kaupapa. That's for you.
Kia ora tāne.
Kia ora, ko tāne Mark Leland, tōku ingoa. I'm here as a spokesman person on behalf of my rōpū, Addington Manuka Cottage Youth Group. We as a rōpū have chosen two whakatauki that we feel represents us as a community and a family. Kia mate aru roa, kia mate whiki. Fight like a shark, don't give in like an octopus. We as youth and for future generations to come will stand together and humbly request that we may take our basketball hoop into consideration, as it will benefit not just us but all of Addington youths and families. The second waiata is Waihoro I te tā toi poto kuia I te tōrua. Let us keep close together and not wide apart. With this hoop in our community, we will not stray away so far from home.
Rawe, shō tānei. Nau reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa, me waiata mātou. For those who are part of our roku and support what me and Tani have shared, I invite you to etu and come over here if you like even, if you can.
Tu te mai na iwi,
Owe.
tātou e. Tu te mai na iwi, tātou e. Whaia te maramatanga, me te aroha, enga iwi, ki ako tapatahi, ki ako tapira, tātou e. Tu te mai na iwi, tātou e. Tu te mai na iwi, tātou e. Whaia te maramatanga, me te aroha, enga iwi, ki ako tapatahi, ki ako tapira, tātou e. Tātou, tahi roa tori wha, kisi awe.
Just want to invite Dante to take a mic now. Kia ora, Dante.
Kia ora, my name is Dante Tiki. I'm 15 years old next Monday, and I live on Paulson Street in one of the council flats with my parents and younger brother. I'd like to make a request to have a basketball court in the city council playgrounds over the fence where I live. We want a minimum size of 10 meters by 11 meters with a good hoop, line marking, and a small fence for the balls to stay on the court. I thought of this idea during COVID times around 2020, mid-March. There was no basketball courts close by. The closest court was the Addington School across the highway. The council flats have lots of families like mine living here in the complex, and some of my schoolmates nearby. The closest central basketball court would be exactly for us. Lots of kids go to Addington School across the main highway, including my brother. He is 6, and this can be unsafe to go play basketball. This can also be unsafe for much younger kids around here who needs an adult to supervise them to get there. Keeping it active is hold on. Keeping active is
It's expensive.
Is expensive for me, and basketball is very popular and also costs a lot. Although I do boxing and judo, I also play basketball at Hormorton High School. It costs $20 to play basketball at the City Council courts at Pioneers. It is $110 just to be a part of my judo and boxing clubs a month. The court would be free for all to enjoy it and have fun, have the ability to manage other small types of games.
Ka pai, Dante. Thank you. Kia ora.
You just want to invite Finn now.
Kia ora, Finn.
Kia ora, I'm Finn Cracknell. I am here to tell you about the benefits of this project. The basketball 1.5 court will benefit our generation and future generation to come. It will also benefit Addington rangatahi who are looking to stay fit, keep out of trouble, having fun with their friends and learn new basketball skills. It will also help young people who are bored and have no money to spend on activities. The good thing about this basketball is that it is a free activity. It will also benefit young people who do not feel safe walking to the next nearest basketball hoop. It will benefit young people who do not want to cross dangerous roads such as Morehouse Avenue and Brom Street. The basketball hoop will also encourage more people to spend time in the park, therefore making it safer as there are more people supervising the park and making sure criminal behavior doesn't happen. It will also help young people to make new friends with young people who live locally.
Kia ora. Ko Jeremiah Toko Ingoa. I am here to tell you about all the organizations in the wider Addington area that have contributed leaders of support for this project. Kathy wrote a letter of support on behalf of Addington Neighborhood Association Incorporated. The chair of ANA spoke to some of the close neighborhoods of the proposed basketball site on Monday, and they are not concerned about possible noise from the court being used in the late evening. ANA is committed to supporting this initiative. Matt Shah is the director of Tigers Sports. He wrote a letter of support on behalf of Hormorton Tigers Sport. Tigers Sport recognizes that this project will support young people to get more active. Jo Robertson is the chairperson of Manuka College. She wrote a letter of support on behalf of Manuka College. The board believes that having a basketball court within our neighborhood would be a huge benefit for local families and rangatahi. Sean Pawson is the chairperson of Addington Farm. Sean wrote a letter of support and recognition that young people will be better connected and will have more opportunities to thrive due to the project. Rachel Green is the chairperson of Crossover Trust. Rachel wrote a letter of support for this project on behalf of the Crossover Trust Board of Trustees. Jo Robertson is the school community liaison for Addington Security Maso.
Joe wrote a letter of support on behalf of Eddington School community. The school thinks that the school thinks that the proposed basketball court location would greatly serve young people who are not easily able to cross Brougham Street. Helen Road from St. Mary's wrote a letter of support on behalf of the St. Mary's congregation. They support the project because our suburb needs sources of connections and places together, especially for young people.
Lucky last. Shot Tyrone.
Kia ora. I'm Tyrone. So first of all, I'm going to give you a brief overview of why the basketball court's a good idea. A few of these reasons are the safety. It'll ensure that many people are safe getting to and from basketball courts. To ensure it also helps worried parents to also feel safe about their child having fun while still being safe. The second reason is is because so far we've gotten 7 quotes from organizations, so it just shows how good of an idea it is.
Yeah.
So far we've received 1 quote from Digworks Construction for the construction of the court. They estimate that the project will cost between $16,000 to $22,000. We ask that you, the Waihoro Community Board, consider our request to build a basketball half court in the reserve. We ask that you prioritise this project for funding. We ask that you request your board advisors to fast track the investigation and implementation of this project.
Kia ora.
One last photo up the top. This just speaks to the whakatauki that Tane shared at the beginning. We're not going to die like an octopus. And these boys, they got big dreams that they want to see come to be. Thank you so much for listening.
Oh, look. Yeah, come back for a little bit, Wilby. You don't get away that easy. Right. Ngā mihi nui ki a koutou. Ngā mihi nui mō tō wero. Ngā mihi nui ki tō kai kōrero, ko Tāne rātou, ko Dante, ko Finn, ko Jeremiah, ko Tyrone. It's really big that you're here tonight. I really want to just acknowledge that this is really amazing to see from kids your age, this level of leadership and responsibility and ownership of your community. This is something we don't see from many communities, and that, I don't know, I think I'm really blown away by that. I really want to just acknowledge the challenge that you've laid down for our boards. We don't have a haka to give back to you, unfortunately, but that's our failing. We will sing, I think we'll sing I Tuia, right? Just to awhi what you've brought for us here. I tuia I te ata, te whakaro ke roto, toro nātu a kuringa, te huinga o te kura. Te kākano iroia, te ripo are, toro nātu a kuringa, te huinga o te kura. So just for context for you guys, I probably should have explained this at the start, but the people around this table are the people that were elected to sort of have a bit of governance responsibility by the residents around the areas that you guys are from. And so what that means is that you've brought this request to us. We're not the experts, so we're not like the people on the ground who know lots about parks and basketball courts and building things and budgets. So what we're going to do is take your request and your challenge, and we're going to take it to the people in the City Council and the Parks Department and recreational teams there. And we're going to take it to them and say, well, what do you reckon? How can we get this done? So I don't want to give you any, I want to be real with you. It's not a guarantee. I'm not going to promise you any outcomes here tonight, but what you've done is pulled the lever on the big machine that is the City Council, and we'll take your request further with people whose responsibility it is to actually do the mahi, and and we'll follow up with you around that as well and how that goes. So thank you so much. I appreciate your kōrero and your wero. Right. And we'll have questions. Yes, Lee.
I just want to check why you'd only go for a half court. Why not be more ambitious? Why not go for a full court? And I know that park's quite constrained, but why that position and why a half court?
I can briefly speak to that. We were intending from day one to have the full support of local stakeholders of that park. And so we have been negotiating and having kōrero with Manuka Cottage and A&A for quite some time. And it became quite clear that a full court wasn't going to suit their ideas for that park. So we're happy with a half.
I'm so pleased you've had those upfront conversations. Yeah. That makes it so much easier for us. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Tim?
The quote or the estimates for 16 to 22K, that's technically that's lock up. So that's the pole, the whole lot, everything. So all the lines, that's, yep, okay. Cool. And look, thank you very much for your presentation, guys. I have a learning disability, and at your age, I couldn't have done what you did tonight. So congratulations and thank you so much.
Any other questions? Right. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm just going to throw. We've got money that we're actually sitting on for a basketball court over there. I would see the benefits tenfold of it being in a community in Addington. We're sitting on money at the moment. We've made a commitment to that community, but I see an opportunity to move forward potentially quicker. So I think something that we should. Our funds are really finite. Our funds are really finite, and that's a board discussion. But I just want to throw it out there that we do have funds that we're holding on to that we can't use at the moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Was that 22 including a light that was facing down as well?
Yeah, so we currently got 2 light poles already in place, and they would be in a suitable placement to put an extra light on the backside of the current lights. Yeah.
And you got permission from the residents around that?
So that's where Kathy O'Malley, who's the chairperson of A&A, she went around the houses locally and asked them if they would be okay with the noise levels that a basketball hoop would bring in the evening time, and all of those neighbours said they wouldn't have a problem with the initiative.
Good work.
I think there is a due process to follow, but I think so. There is a due process, but it's such a good concept, eh? Yeah. You're a good salesman.
Never thought I'd hear it out of your mouth.
Can you read that all right?
Yeah. True. unuhia, unuhia, unuhia ki te uru tapu nui, kia wātia, kia māma, te ngākau, te tinana, te wairua i te ara takata, koiara e rongo, whakairia ake ki runga, kia tina, tina, huie, tai ki e.
See you later, everyone.